I could agree with that, and I think Orwell's book is relevant today. And when we speak of heritage, a lot of young people are not aware of their history. And what has changed from then to today is the media and access to internet, and the touch of a button you'll be able to know what's happening across the world. So people are more in tune with what is happening, but a lot of people are in a state of shock and thinking, okay, this is new. It's not new. It's just a whole change of the way that things are being reported and the way that things are being presented. From my position on the work that I do, we've now got to the point where young people's lives are now priced at £3,000 for 12 weeks. And when you get to the point when you start putting prices on people's lives, you have to really take that serious. And the reason why I say that is the way that the Met Police or the government above measure young people's lives that are in deprived areas or sink zones is, if we could save a young person at risk of harming someone or getting harmed themselves, is we will pay someone £3,000 to rehouse them and provide them with wraparound services. In return for that £3,000, you then save 1.6 million, which you will cost from start to finish to investigate a murder. So if you look at £3,000 to 1.5 million, it might have gone up now the recession's on. That's a lot of savings. And that's the way that people are working when they're working with these young people and families. It's not a different package for a family to move outside of London. It's the same £3,000 because they've got that in place as protective measures to stop the serious youth violence. And to me, I think that's really dangerous when the underlying issue is poverty within the household. 9 out of 10 of these households that we go into, once you enter the household, you could see why the young girls and young boys are out there committing offences. It's not because it's fun and exciting, that's a part of it. But it's about providing for the household. And a lot of people miss that. And you're not going to send people to prison. A lot of people that work would rather go to prison because it's easier. Get free meals in there, free clothes, and you don't have to worry about the stresses of life. And then we wonder why prisons are full. Because it's easier than being outside. And a lot of parents, even if we touch on the riots, and you saw families stealing TVs and trainers with their kids. That's not a riot, that's opportunist. That's someone looking to take something that they couldn't afford the day before this disturbance. And that's what we need to take into account. Why would someone wake up at 3 in the morning and start stealing trainers with their kids? Son, try these trainers on, see if they fit you, because I might not be able to buy them for you. That's not a riot. That's someone that can't afford that TV, or those pair of trainers that they've seen on the TV, maybe in one of the soaps, someone wearing those trainers, or the 50-inch TV or the 60-inch TV. And we come back to the point that my friend there made. It's all about what the media portrays of what you're meant to have. You're meant to have the big TV, you're meant to have the 4x4, even though the petrol prices and diesel have gone up. But you're no one if you haven't got a 4x4 in your driveway. And if we've got everyone trying to achieve to get a 4x4 in their driveway, then we're going to have problems. Because not everyone can afford a 4x4 and have a mortgage if we're all on low income.
I think one of the things, we've tried to have this observation, but one of the things that's worth pointing out is that when the politicians were condemning the rioters, we had a situation where a significant number of those people had fiddled expenses to the degree, I think Gerald Kaufman had fiddled expenses so that he could get plasma screen TV. And there was a certain irony in all the people standing up and redecorated their houses, we've got throw cushions and we've got TVs, out of us, nicked it off us, condemning people for the idea that they might try and nick a telly. This is what you've just done. The idea that police who are arresting them were taking money from Murdoch, the idea that they, this kind of cosy cash changing hands, TVs changing hands, all going on, essentially funded by us, from the people who were then crying the loudest at the riots. But I think what what Jacqueline was saying about the idea that living day to day and the concept of the future. During the book, I met a guy called Tony Hammond. His dad, Jim Hammond, was an unemployed blacklisted coal miner who showed George Orwell around Wigan. We took him down the mine, the passage that Cat read. So he was, in 1936, Jim Hammond's wife was pregnant with Tony, and they met George Orwell. Then, by the time I met Tony, he was a retired judge. And so his family had gone from the position of being in this abject, unemployed, blacklisted mining, fall to a room to a retired judge. And he'd gone through the British dream, if you like, of education, of working hard, but also technical improvements. He remembers electricity coming to his girlfriend's house in the 1960s. He remembers all these changes happening, which were going to happen anyway. A lot of when we look around at houses now, we don't see poverty because we see things which are the result of electricity happening. And this is not something this is something that was spreading across Britain just as Orwell was writing. So these things would have fallen into place where poverty had existed or gone. So we can't directly compare the two. What we can see the poverty opportunity compared to what Jim Hammond faced, this idea that they could progress their family through to the point where all of Tony Hammond's kids have had degrees, and his grandchildren are going through. Now, after meeting him, I went back to Wigan and went to this part of Wigan called Scols, and there's which is where George Orwell stayed, in Darlington Street, and went to a community centre, which we'll talk about later on in gushing away. And was at one point talking to a couple of 12-year-olds outside and asking what they wanted to be. And one of them said he wanted to be a vet. And the reason he wanted to be a vet is because the men on his estate bred dogs, and he thought that was how he'd encountered this idea. He wanted to do it. And I said, oh, well, there's Tony Hammond, who used to live around here, he's a judge. And the boy said, for me to become a vet, it would take a magician to cast a spell. That's the only conceivable way he could imagine going through that transition, seeing that future. So I think that, that is the greatest possibility.
Can I just say that I think one of the things about poverty is that it forces you to be resourceful. And the families that we support, they're very resourceful. So looking at the rights and opportunities, and I think that comes out of it. You see something you need, you're going to get it. So it's resourcefulness, it's creativity, and it's resilience. And I think those things are all, you're forced to develop those skills. And I think that's one of the things to bear in mind, that we can talk about people living in poverty, but there's an aspect of empowerment around their resilience that it's good to be aware of as well.